And off we go on another, off we go on another episode of our three. Rish over there in Florida.
Rolling
Um,
in Scotland.
yeah, I mean, I just went over the news again, and I sent you an article about Charlie Munger, one of the largest investors in this world, and
Old rich white guy.
um, how do I say this? We've been trying to fix the Chinese economy, and I know you have been saying a couple of really smart things about fixing American economy, fixing Western economy. But I mean, when I read this article, I don't think many people are in the mindset of even trying to fix it. What do you think?
Well, the Chinese should be trying to fix it, but as far as like from a Western perspective, you figure we we created we created the Chinese prosperity. We did it by making them the economic powerhouse and allowing them to sell goods without having to pay for security needs. And it's extremely expensive to patrol the world's oceans. And the further away from your own shores, the harder it is. And with America's pullback, and we've been building carriers, not destroyers. Carriers are not for protecting global shipping. Destroyers are. Carriers are for threat, threat neutralization. They're for force projection far away from your own borders. And that's what aircraft carriers do. We built enough supply to cover that. And then we built enough screening ships to cover commerce for our needs and sub hunt. So the US, and especially with the posturing, why would we continue to foster the conditions that have made you our adversary, and in your mind a near peer? In my mind, not so much. You can't get here with anything other than a missile, and then that's debatable. You can't land troops here. We can land troops on your shores. You cannot land troops on ours. So you're not a near peer. Okay, just fuck off. You're not. So why would we keep spending all of our taxpayers' money and our treasure patrolling the lanes, keeping the system alive that funds your growth to hate us, to want to rival us? So taps off. So to fix the Chinese economy, a time machine and go back, and I don't under why did they ever position themselves to be in a rivalry with the people who, I guess maybe they thought that we couldn't wean ourselves off of their goods, that we were addicted to something that only they could do. No, there's nothing special about what you do. You're just doing it better than everybody else. But if we stop funding the conditions that make that, what do you have? And you wanted to position yourselves as an adversary.
I
You
think
did it to yourself, you fucking idiots.
I
And
think
now
I
I'm
think
not
that
talking, just
is
for the record, before people get in the comments, I'm not talking about the Chinese people. I'm talking about the PLA, the CCP.
I think in that regard, that is a actually a very good example of unintended consequences. So the question for the Chinese Communist Party was and is, well, how do we put people's attention on something else? And what works in China, in any kind of authoritarian state, is vilifying an external threat, in this case, the Americans. So, and from many viewpoints, Americans and Western countries per se make an excellent adversary for the Chinese Communist Party. However, what the Chinese Communist Party did not anticipate is that at one point, this kind of blustering, blaming people would have consequence in terms of, well, you keep blaming us, you know what? Go F yourself. Yeah. So in terms of, well, if you're only blaming me, let's go separate ways. That's fine with us.
Well,
And
America
again,
is showing the world, you know what? If you're going to hate us, whether we're benevolent, indifferent, or downright hostile, at least we don't have to fund your hatred. You can hate us for free.
yep. So when you look at the rhetoric, and I think that there is really a mental detachment and delusion in the Chinese Communist Party that they think they can say whatever they want, do whatever they want, and people will continue. Like you said, just keep giving them money, keep doing this, keep doing that. And what they are finding out over the last year or so, shouting racist and blaming no longer works for them. So this is the
We have enough of that on our news that when the Chinese say it about us,
really.
Sorry, bud, it doesn't. We're already listening to that.
Take
Take
a number. Yeah, take a number. The queue is over there.
So we're already fighting ourselves about who's an a-hole and who isn't. Like we don't have time for what you think about our country. We're already doing it ourselves.
Really, this is the kind of thing. Don't slap the hand that feeds you. So when the hand withdraws because you kept slapping it, why are you blaming the hand? So there is definitely going to be a wake up call. And I mean, the thing that I sent you, moving back to our side of the equation, is when I read it about commercial property, or loans for commercial property are going to be troublesome. And I'm saying that after the third bank in the US failed. Yeah.
Yeah, but this guy looks like Mr. Burns, but with glasses.
He's probably a little bit richer. So
oh, that won't do it. But anyway, yeah, this guy's very old. He looks very rich. And I think that he has been around the block enough times and's got enough, blood on his hands that if he tells you things are about to be a little weird, it's probably going to be a little weird because what's this guy got to lie about? He's got more money than God. He's got more money than his family could piss away in a few generations. I mean, they got the kind of wealth that you just
challenge accepted.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I'm sure the debutantes of the third and fourth generation removed from the people who, you have the generation that sets up, you have the generation that creates the wealth, and then you have the generation that squanders it.
Yeah.
So, but with his kind of wealth, so why is this? Where's the motivation? This guy's not trying to manipulate the market because he needs a couple extra bucks.
Look, I was going to blow the same horn as you. The guy knows what he's talking about. He's not dumb, definitely not.
No.
And to me, you see this why it resonates so much with me is in course of COVID. And I was in China when the lockdowns happened, and our lockdowns were basically lockdowns in China were lifted with restrictions like wear a mask, do this, do that, when lockdowns in the rest of the world started happening. So what I have seen in China, particularly here in the UK, is that commercial real estate, so all the office buildings, are more or less empty. So when I look at that, is I'm going through the motions here, and before COVID, we had the technology. You could work a lot of jobs remotely. I mean, Granted, if you are working in production on the assembly line or something, you can't. But if you are some office jockey, like you, me, you can literally do 99% of your job from any computer in the world. So people were sent
Well, see,
home.
I really like running equipment from the job site, but you Germans are trying to screw up my profession by making all the heavy equipment ran from a fucking basically a converted Predator drone station. Now, like, oh, okay, now we're just gonna run excavators from here. Stop screwing around with my job, dirty
Courtesy,
Germans.
courtesy. Yeah, running tanks wasn't enough. But no, what I'm trying to say is that I realized my work. I am way more productive working from home. I get 3 times the shit done, plus the shit I have to do at home. And why would I need an office building for my job? I don't.
To pay
And
rent.
yeah, that is exactly the thing. We have invested in huge real estate. I mean, talk about Chinese real estate bubble. Talk about ours. Yeah. So we have these office buildings, and people are not going back to the office.
Mhm.
So, and a lot of companies that is said, well, back to the office are experiencing, well, I'm not going. That's
Uh,
part of the office revolution here is this what was it called? The Great Resignation. Is
mhm.
I don't want to go back to the office. I don't like these people. Yeah, I get more shit done working at home. And why would I spend an hour or more going to the office, another hour or more going back home? I don't see my kids growing up.
Not
And
to mention the financial aspect, not
yep,
just the person who's maintaining the office, but okay, coffee at Starbucks is six,
yep,
$7. Well, at your house, the equivalent cup of coffee is a buck 50. You can have breakfast whenever you like, so you can have a more
yep.
nutritional breakfast because you're not eating on the run. You can also practice better eating habits by eating smaller meals and not just trying to wolf them down as you're
Yep.
hounded in between when your third
No,
and sixth boss comes
it's a
around to
matter
screw with
of
you. Yeah.
yeah, if you are organizing it well, yeah, you not only get more work done, but I think what has really upset people in this kind of jobs is no, you can't, being told no, you can't work from home, you can't get special dispense for doing this and that, then being told during the pandemic, you slave, go work from home, make money for me, and now you come back to the office. So
Well,
and
not only
people are
mentioned,
not
some
having that.
people had to buy equipment to make working from home, a
Yeah.
better desk, more ergonomic, one of those little stand up sit downs. Some people needed a better computer to effectively do their job. Some people made investments. Some people went into doing YouTube channels or podcasts.
Yeah.
People made fiscal investments towards
Yeah,
changing the
not
way they
only that.
work.
Look, let's just stay with that in that kind of situation. Um, for me, again, I'm in a very lucky position. My boss just said, well, if you need to make any adjustments at home, buying a computer, buying a desk, buying this or that, send me the invoice.
Mhm.
I haven't, because I bought all this stuff not only for working, but also for myself. And
Yeah.
for me personally, it is like, well, you don't over ask, because one day I may need a favor, and then yeah,
But when I need it, I expect it to be a yes without hassle.
I haven't had that kind of hassle.
No, but that's what I mean. That's
So
why you do it when you look out for the company when it's time like, hey guys, this is
exactly.
100% all
Look,
business
I don't want to.
receipt. I need you to buy it.
I don't want to talk smack, gloat, or something, but like you said, a bit of goodwill goes a very long way in that sense. And I had days where I'm working Sundays, where I'm working, yeah, today Labor Day. Apparently, we are getting
It's
the
it's not
day
Labor
off
Day.
after the after the coronation.
It's not
So
Labor Day.
it's not Labor Day, 1st of
No,
May.
no,
What is Labor Day in the US?
no. It's a day that you do labor. That's the running joke in construction because all the people who get Labor Day off is all the people with the white collars who
Yeah.
don't do labor in the actual tense of the word. The guys who work outside, like myself, swinging sledgehammers, welders, fabricators, mechanics, heavy equipment operators, the people out there doing the back-breaking, hands-on work, they labor on Labor Day, while all the people that run our insurance, our bankers, they're the ones who get the day off.
Well, talk about bankers. So no, I was looking at this
What a
and
dirty profession.
yeah, for our viewers, that was my first job.
And that
Uh,
was me talking smack.
yeah, a little bit of poking at me from Rish. Yeah, nicely
Whatever.
done,
You
sir.
called me a yank 2 weeks ago. Don't forget about that.
Oh, a couple of weeks ago, but I know it's I never gonna live long enough for that
I'm
one.
telling the IRA you're Protestant.
They actually no, I'm not.
Oh, you Catholic?
No,
Oh, then you're something weird.
no, I am. Well, not nothing to do with. What's it? I think that fits also quite well in our topic.
Oh, if it's
I
heretic, I'm totally telling the IRA you're a heretic. You will never say another
well,
bad thing about me
look,
again, sir.
I have no problem with religion. Yeah,
Yeah.
let me just say that. When I had a problem is I because of my work in Germany, I got to know the tax code quite a bit, not only as a
Mhm.
banker but later on. And essentially, what happens in Germany is you are double taxed on certain earnings and income. And not only is it double taxed, in Germany, the church is funded by the government. So depending on how holy your constituency is, an 8 or 9% of your income tax bill on top of the income tax bill is going to the church. And I'm like, well, I don't really like being double taxed and double church taxed. And on the other side of the equation, I don't see, or I didn't see the church in Germany to do anything worthwhile with that money for the people. Yeah. No, I have to
Yeah,
be
we don't
brutally
have
direct
that
about it.
second problem. We don't pay church taxes, but churches in America, especially one, Scientology, is a huge tax haven. But no, that whole thing with the separation of church and state, but our money is taxed far more than twice. It's ridiculous. Property tax, income tax, state tax, local tax, sales tax, death tax. There's a tax. So you can pay taxes 9 times on money that you earn while you were living. And if you want to give it to somebody when you're dead, there's number 10.
Yeah. Look,
Unless you're
again,
rich. If you're rich in this country, you don't pay shit if you're smart.
so, yeah. No, this is why I was saying I know it's a little bit of a petty protest, but look at it from this point of view. If I want to do something, give me the right words. Give me something to atone for my sins. Yeah. Um, I can do
Oh
that directly
no,
with
the
my money.
Catholic Church already did that. And that if you believe that actually works, I don't think heaven's where you're going.
So, well, there's a whole. Don't get
The
me in that
crazy thing is like
kind of
I'm
thing.
I'm devout Christian and I'm also staunchly anti-organized religion. I am
So
both.
So you are definitely going to hell with me, but then again, that's good company.
Well, depending on who you ask, but yeah, no, I thought that organized religion was one of the worst things that ever happened to any of the religion, was basically creating religious corporations.
Well, that is one way to express it. I mean, again, I have no problem with the concept as well as doing something good. Yeah, but I don't need the government and the church to tell me how much I'm due, and then have absolutely zero transparency or say in what is going to be yeah, what is going on in that club.
Well,
Yeah.
you can vote for your government. I've never seen a church hold elections. And don't get me started with how they picked a pope. I don't give a shit. That's not an election.
That is
I don't care what they call it. That's not what an election is. That's an election like the same way that, I don't know, the Supreme Ayatollah of Iran was elected, or I don't know, the Kim family was elected, or
and there's certainly no
Vladimir
democratic
Putin's
element in
elected.
there.
So I
And
think,
look, I'm not expecting to be asked for every little bit of crap that's going on, whether it's a governmental business, church business, or whatever. Yeah, I do know my
go buy the
limitations,
pencils and
but
staples. I get it.
when you see things happening that you are fundamentally opposed to, then at some point you need to ask yourself, do you want to continue funding that? Do you want to continue helping that out? I mean, same thing with me saying in 2019, in summer 2019, I said I can no longer support my employer. I can no longer support with my work the kind of governance that I'm subjected to, that openly hates me, like you said. As I need to say no at some point. So,
I would like to say no to my government because I don't think that my tax dollars should fund. If you are elected for one term, you get your salary forever and really good
yeah.
health insurance while the rest of us fight over. And I don't want any of my tax dollars paying for a public servant who's in a position to regulate the financial sector in which they have their money kept. That is the textbook definition of conflict of interest. Because as a
Do
public servant, you're supposed to act in the best interest
you
of
know
your electors.
how the Greek democracy 2,000, 4,000 years ago, how they remunerated their politicians?
Well, I remember that only male landowners were allowed to vote.
Something like that. Or basically, only rich people were affluent enough to go into politics because the stipend that politicians got, besides getting food, was basically just a little pittance of money, not worth the time. So only people that had an interest in the common good and could afford to be out of job went into politics.
No, see, do they have the interest of the common good, or is it a bunch of rich people who can decide how to make themselves richer at the expense of the people? Because a
Uh,
lot of times governments turn into that. And yes, I'm
yeah.
throwing stones at you, Washington, D.C.
Well, when you see that kind of thing, obviously, and going back to our original topic, of course, there is a massive interest in keeping the gears grinding, yeah, and keeping the real estate occupied. But again, this is the kind of thing what we have been saying, what I've been saying, is that people are starting to think about, well, I am not okay with what is going on, whether it is the opinion makers or small things such as the real estate that we started talking about, and spinning that forward again. That is a worldwide phenomenon that people start saying no, I am not benefiting from, I'm not contributing to a system that doesn't have any benefits for me.
Mhm.
So yeah, there we are.
So how do you fix the Chinese economy?
Um, my question, my question is, let's say you are Chairman Xi. My first question is, are you letting me fix it? Yes or no?
Wait, do you have to set parameters? Am I me, but inside of Xi's
No, no,
body,
you are
or do I
Xi.
have to be the best Xi Jinping that I can be and keep it on brand for him?
Be the best general secretary you can be.
Oh, then I would fucking kill Xi and beg the people to help me fix this before it's too late.
No, no, you are Xi, and you are asking me to fix it.
Oh no. Let's see. Well, I need you to try a bunch of things, and I need you to get some teams built, and I need y'all to come up with all the ideas you can. I'm gonna implement ones that I think will work. If they do work, you can either go to prison or say as loud as you can possibly say to anyone who asks or doesn't ask that it was my idea and you told me how to do it and I handled the small stuff. Or if it doesn't work, but I think you have promise, I'm going to send you back to that same prison. But if it really doesn't work, yeah, I'm just going to kill you and your family. So who's ready to
Well,
sign up
there
for
is no
She
incentive.
Corporation?
Uh, there is no incentive for that. Simple as
Either
that.
I'm great or
So
you're dead. What do you want?
both. You
I was
see,
gonna say if I
so,
was Xi
no,
Jinping, I
the
would be
reason.
falling on the sword and saying I fucked up royally in however many. I know there's Cantonese, Mandarin. I'm sure there's a couple more types of Chinese. In all the dialects of Chinese, I would have it simulcast. Guys, I made some bad decisions. Please don't come MF and kill me in my sleep for what I've done to you. And if you don't kill me, I will try to be a better president and think about y'all. I would
Well,
say a
I was.
100% more, but 100% of zero is still a zero. So I will at least start to think about giving a shit about you.
Let me put it that way. Chance of that happening is zero.
No,
So
because they would
no,
go kill him.
the
If
reason
he
I'm asking
admitted, if
is
he admitted all his mistakes and told the people what he really did, do you think they're not burning him at the stake or whatever the
I
Chinese
am
equivalent is?
um well, there are no trees in Beijing that are stable enough for to hang people, but that's a different
There's
topic.
some flying. You can go
So
off the building through the smog.
that's a Russian thing. That's a
Oh
Russian
well,
thing.
it's also an American thing. When Wall Street crashed, we had a lot of jumpers.
Yeah. No,
And
I
in
the
India, they
reason
do
why I
it
was
on accident,
asking
trying to take
this,
selfies.
the reason why I was raising this is, first of all, the chance for this kind of thing to happen in the setup of, can you fix this please, or fix this, yeah, is exactly zero. So what is going to happen, just as you were insinuating, do this to fix it. If you
Mhm.
make me look bad, you are off to Xinjiang at best. So people have absolutely zero incentive to even
Do you
try.
want a short life or a hard life? Because that's option 1 and 2.
So if there was such a thing as in, how would you fix it, and without any limitations to what I can do, is the immediate disbandment of the Chinese Communist Party with elections in 18 months' time, pulling down the firewall. This is still day one.
Hold on. Can can I be your advisor?
You advise me
Don't
to have a longer life.
don't burn down the whole system and then hold elections. We did that in Iraq. You
No,
need
no,
some
no.
of the old government for the transition.
That is what I was going to say. The Politburo under new leadership to make that transition. And
Oh,
yes,
okay. I thought you meant break it
as you
all
were
down and
saying,
then start building it. No.
with the kind of thing, I even if that happened, I do not think that by and large the Communist Party would be in such a bad position because it's all most people have ever known in their life, and people truly believe this is where my good life comes from, and they're being told all the time this is where your good life comes from. Yeah. So nothing like foreign investment, foreign expatriates that have together with the Chinese people built what is there now. Yeah.
But think about
So
the way you've indoctrinated everyone.
exactly.
So the people who did take the Kool-Aid,
Yep.
if you get up and you say, I've made a mistake, let's try to right the ship before we slam into the rocks. Maybe we can pull it onto the sand. Let's try to change course to not slam it into the rocks. The people who drank the Kool-Aid, you have all those your staunchest supporters who bought in. They're all in positions of power. They're in the military, they're in the government. So do you risk alienating these people that you've empowered for so long and had them buy in and tell them it was totally wrong? It everything, and these are people who probably have given up on family members or turned in people who were their neighbors, stuff like that. Or do you keep by them and keep the party line until it's painfully obvious because the dying in mass starts and then everyone finds out at once that you screwed up?
You see, this is the kind of thing where, again, I want to quote Deng Xiaoping. One day the Chinese people will see through the scam, and then we better run fast, and we better have money outside the country.
But if you try to get
So
ahead of it, what happens to these fanatics that you've armed and empowered and given training?
that is the big thing. It could massively backfire. No, the reason why I'm saying that is at some point you reach a point in a system, or when you I mean, I often see that when I write for work, when I design sessions for work, where I said no, I have to delete the whole thing. I am so engulfed in my mind into this idea that I'm now realizing doesn't work. Yeah, if I just keep fixing it, I keep having the same bad idea. So screw this, delete, start from zero. So, and no matter what kind of fix you want to apply, yeah, the as I've been saying, even under the most favorable circumstances, the only thing you are doing when you are fixing the economy is you are speeding up your own exit from the positions of power.
Well, and
So,
COVID probably shaved 10 years off of that, coming to light.
well, let's just say one thing. When I was still in China, one thing I realized is when I was out after the lockdowns were lifted, after things went back to normal, before the new lockdowns, there were less than 10-20% of people on the street that were there before COVID. And I know we've been talking about it can't be the only country that is having is showing GDP growth, the only country where this virus is not x percent deadly. So really, it makes you think, it makes you wonder, and we now know that in terms of the population crisis, the Chinese government overcounted their young people by about 100 million.
Oh, is that all?
So, yep. So, I mean, you have certainly seen the news that India is now the most populous country in on the planet. Yeah.
I did. I actually saw that this morning.
So, that is not including those 100 million that don't exist. Yeah. And the sad thing is, or the bad
Well,
thing
for India, it doesn't exclude the 28 million we got in America, the 20 million in Africa.
Yep.
Indians travel well. They travel well.
Yep. Look, in terms of that, the positive thing for India is they have a much younger population than China.
Well,
So
they have
more
a
people
crap ton of all the
working.
population. They got old people, they got
Yep.
young people, not as many young
But
people.
structurally, way better than China, the population structure.
But also
So,
the working class Indian people are going to look after rather their elderly parents. So that's
yeah,
less of a strain on the government and more of a focus on handling that inside your family unit. So that helps not
but in
strain the
both
system like
countries, there is
America.
there
America's
is
going to be
no such thing
screwed
as a
with that.
social system.
Yeah.
Yeah. But speaking, I mean, going forward from there and the population numbers, when you how do I say that? When you are or when you realize that your population structure is even worse than the worst projections,
Mm-hmm.
when you realize that the young people have been successfully indoctrinated so that they can't fix things. Yeah, they are very good. I mean, what there is one of my coworkers. She left a job for a government job where she made 40% less.
Okay.
So the perception is still, if I work for the government, I will always have a job. I will always have food on the table. So that is one thing.
Yeah, until you don't.
Yeah, until you don't. So
what comes after that? I believe
that,
the dying.
well, that is, like I said, that is the thing. Even under the
Well, I
most
mean,
favorable circumstances, there is no way that the person or the people trying to fix this are getting out of this as heroes, because no decision you can make, none, I mean literally none of them, has more benefits or more beneficial outcomes than downsides. So
eventually, what I've started calling the Korean Spring will start coming to China.
well, there is certainly, again, as we said in the previous video, that even government offices are now calling it what it is. There will be unrest. Not there could be unrest. Yeah, there will be unrest.
Oh,
So
do you get what I mean by the Korean Spring? Not the Arab Spring, the Korean Spring.
yep, no,
The
I'm
story
with you.
about what the lady eats, and then she said in North Korea, in springtime, we die.
Yep.
There's no food.
So when you look
And this
at
is
it,
coming from people that eat bugs, tree leaves. They say grasshoppers is popular. These people are willing to scratch out nutrition out of whatever they have. So if they can't find it, I'm pretty sure it ain't there. China's got a lot more people.
China has a lot more people, is way more is very dependent in its food production on imported input, shall we say. So
well, and what's Germany gonna do now that the natural gas taps off? You built Germans built an entire industrial model on cheap natural gas.
Yep. Well,
Y'all are kind of effed in the A, aren't you?
we are currently talking to a couple of other dictators in Africa, in Southeast Asia, in former Soviet republics.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wasn't Albert Einstein originally from Germany or Bulgaria?
from Germany. Yes, he was
And
German.
what was his definition of insanity again?
Wasn't that the absence of logic?
No, it was performing the same actions and expecting different results.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's one thing
you
he said.
just move into a smaller, less reliable dictator who
Yeah.
doesn't have a pipeline that goes straight into your
Well,
shores.
the other thing that we are doing is
And how are you
and
going
that
to
is a
move it
good
by
thing
sea?
actually.
The Germany better have a navy if it wants to come by sea, because if you've noticed, America's easing on out of the global trade business. Well, the protection of global trade
I
model.
don't think they are moving out altogether. What I foresee is the Americans will be in, let's say, in 5 years' time. The Americans will be plainly telling whoever is in charge in Germany, if you are not singing the right tune, your problem. Yeah, mate. We are not going to die for your country
Well,
if
not only
you
that,
are not singing the
Germany's the
right tune.
largest economy in Europe. Build
Yep.
some fucking destroyers.
We do build them. We just call them frigates. So yeah,
Supply and logistics. The British, they live on an island. The British can't even deploy their own forces because we've been doing their logistics for so long. They don't even have the ships anymore.
like I said, fun fact: the German Navy is now larger than the British Royal Navy. So
If you're
there
from
is that.
England, you should be shitting bricks going, what happened?
Well, well, let's just say the Germans are doing their expansions before the British. That is one thing that happened. Secondly, and there is a point. There is a point about we let the Americans do it. Um, I see the problem is that we have been
No, but that's the thing.
accustomed
You didn't hold
to
up your end of the
comfort.
bargain. The bargain was, we'll do all the Navy. We'll fight your economic wars. We'll make sure that the Middle East stays open
Yeah.
to get your oil.
No, I said there
But
is a
we
point in
get your
that.
army. Germany, where's your army that we were supposed to get for our side of the coin?
Oh, we are trying. We are trying. No,
We are
Europe.
trying.
No, Europe-wide. We are trying to rebuild an army, and
The
I
French
mean
and the
this is.
Poles are doing the best, and I'm a little pissed off at France.
Oh well. Look, um, the way I see this is that we will need a European army on top of a small security force for any inter-European conflict. Let's pray it never happens, but we need a multinational force to say, dear Vladimir, if you continue that, we put 1 million men in the field.
Well, see, right now they
So
have the quick reaction force, but it needs to be spearheaded by Europeans for Europeans, not U.S. led.
look,
U.S.
the RDF,
supported.
the RDF, and it is really not equipped with the punch that it would need. But ending on a positive note, Germany in particular has been driving a lot of deals with Africa, not only with in terms of gas and oil, but 2 episodes ago or so, I was talking about we are plastering Africa with solar power at the moment to generate hydrogen. So now um,
Hurry up.
we will always have gas and petrochemicals in Germany if we can manage to salvage it. Again, a couple of chemical companies are starting to move their production facilities to the States because energy
We are this.
security.
Well, that and we're the
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia natural gas, baby. We got plenty. And that was
So
before fracking.
that is not to say that hydrogen is not a very interesting concept, especially considering if you want to go electric, you need a whole new set of infrastructure. If you go hydrogen, a lot of that infrastructure that you have can be repurposed and reused. So the transition would be much easier.
There
And
would be
look, I'm all for it.
less large holes in the ground. There'd be a lot more
Yeah.
smaller holes, but a 4-inch to 12-inch drill shaft versus a freaking 2 kilometer at the top wide pit mine.
I mean, the other thing about our energy, especially electric energy, is we will, or the EU will fund the British idea of, I'm calling it, note the day and the time. The EU will get into the project with significant funding of the British are now looking at mini nukes, not in terms of suitcase bombs, but in terms of your friendly neighborhood nuclear power plant.
Mm-hmm.
And once we figured out fusion, then it is, if we can miniaturize that over the next, say, 20 to 50 years,
we're
the
good.
energy future looks way better. By that time, we can transition to all-out electric, yeah, and it's things that you and I possibly won't see, yeah, in 50 years or so. I mean, who knows? But I look at it from the point of view, and like I said, this is what has given me hope over the last months, is that we know that time is on our side in terms of communism doesn't work.
Right.
So, and looking at what the major players want and get from each other, it is basically at best for them a barter trade. Yeah, you give us oil, we give you oil, you give us products. Yeah, but there is no financial exchange. This is really rudimentary economics from the Stone Age. Yeah, and there are people who say we have moved on from that. So the other side of the story is, how long can you hide between the Russian firewall, the Chinese firewall, and pretend your life is great when you see people looking in from the outside, sipping their Coke and having their steak and saying, "God, I'm glad I'm not you."
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, another day, another video.
Sounds good to me. He's rolling.
And over there's Rish, and we will see you on the next one.